Good morning, Yield the Floor. Um, I decided, this morning before I get ready, to do my daily activities, I decided to do a quick YouTube live video on my rant on flat earthers. I might do a couple more because it's a lot. There's a lot. But I just want to touch on three quick subjects about flat earthers. One, there's a new sector of flat earthers I just learned about. They're not as radical as most flat earthers, but it's still a confusing stance on that flat earther sector. Also, I want to talk about hypothesis versus theories, and a lot of these conspiracy theorists, which I don't like calling conspiracy theorists, I call them conspiracy hypothesists. Um, that they confuse the definition of theory and hypothesis, and I'll talk about that. And I want to also address a common, foolery of flat earthers thinking the earth is completely flat and why it's completely flat. And I will just touch on that very at the end. But let me first talk about the new flat earther theory that hypothesis that I came about. I have a friend in another group, which I was also on a radio show with Trisha on her show, League of Their Own. A friend of mine, Hans, he's a flat earther, and he described to me that his belief why the earth is not really round, but he said it is round, but it's not the perfect sphere as people think it is, which he is kind of correct. The earth is oblique. It's not a perfect sphere. But it's not that it's completely a oblique shape. It's still resembles a very close to a sphere. It's just slightly oblique. To the naked eye, if we were out of space looking at Earth, it wouldn't look like a football, which he was describing. He's saying that because the Earth spin, like if there's a cross section of Earth, it looks like this. So it's kind of flat on the poles. And no, it's not. Because yes, the earth is spinning. At the core of the earth, it's not spinning that fast. At the radius of the earth, it is kind of spinning fast because that's just how the angle and velocity work. I'm not going to get into the math. But when you look at the mass of the earth, the amount of force it takes for the earth to bulge out like this, you standing right here, you be almost floating off the ground. If the earth is spinning that fast for this to happen, you would not be standing on the earth. It'll be hard for life as we know it on earth if it's a football shape. It's not a football shape. It is close to a perfect sphere. Yes, it's oblique. Yes, it's kind of just slightly. It's not a perfect sphere, just slightly, but it's not a football. All right, that's on the shape of the earth with that new sector flat earthers. My next rant: hypothesis versus theory. And a lot of people with a bunch of conspiracies, from flat earthers to hollow earth to the 9/11 and a bunch of other stuff. The moon landing as well. They don't believe in the moon landing. One thing I have to say to them, they say, well, scientists have all these theories and theories is just a guess. So my opinion is just as valid. Like, no, it isn't. That is not what theory officially means. Now, I'm going to go on a limb here and say I'm not really a stickler on definitions, because definitions of words change all the time, especially when a community and then the nation adopt a new definition. So I'm not going to say that theory only means this and that's that. However you define theory, that's you. But if you're in a debate with a scientific community, you can't just impose your definition on others. Well, this is what it means to me, so it should mean that to you. No. If you're going to have debate on an issue, the meaning got to be you got to be on the same page in the meeting. Everybody have to be on the same page in the meeting, because what theory means to scientists is when you have a hypothesis, which is an educated guess, and it went through testing, scientific logic, math, and it still pans out. It still comes out with a defining truth. Now, you may not understand everything about the subject matter, but yet the finding has a truth in the matter. There is a factual truth to the theory. That's why it's a theory. It's not that, hey, it's just a guess. No, gravity is a theory. It is a force that's been tested. They actually came up with equations to define how does gravity work. Do we understand why it works? I mean, now we think it's a boson particle, which a couple of years ago from scientific findings of particles and whatever, but I'm not even going to get into all that because I don't even understand it too much. Quantum physics it's crazy. But they came to a realization that is an undefining truth. And to say that is a theory, who cares? Dude, theories is why we have cell phones, is why we have radio, is why you have television, the flat screen, HDTVs. I mean, it is why we have the medical breakthrough that we have today. It is like, if you don't believe in scientific theories, then how are you living right now? You are benefiting out of everything that's come out of the scientific history, but yet you don't want to believe it. Like, come on. So hypothesis, just as educated guess at best. Theory is a hypothesis that's went through the community. It went through logic. It went through mathematical testing, and comes out as, hey, there is something true about this hypothesis. Now it's a theory. And lastly, I just want to touch on the radical flat earthers that believe the earth is flat. Yeah, flat. Where the edges is the poles, and no one could see the poles because it is the no-fly zone. So we, like all of us, were living in the middle of a plate. Now, one thing was so funny. I saw a video on YouTube where this kid describing the earth cannot be round because, look, water, say there's a round earth, right? And water in the earth, the water just falls down. There's nothing catching the water. It just falls. There's no way the earth could be round. You see, it's flat. See, the plate catch the water. And I'm like, okay, buddy, if you believe that the earth is flat and so it can catch the water, because anything else would just fall off to the abyss of space, what the hell's holding the plate up? What's holding the flat earth up? Everything else is falling but the flat earth. How, Sway? And they said that the sun and the moon are just hovering over top of it. What's holding the sun and moon up if everything else is falling? How, Sway? What are you talking about? And another thing, if you have a telescope and you look straight ahead, you'll be able to see the edge of the earth. Before you go out of space. You see but if you're right here on the earth, right, is a cross section, and you're looking out of space, you will see the horizon and then space. If you're looking out of any coastal of any continent into the ocean and you looking out, you will see space. You don't see Italy or, from the east coast of America, looking towards the east. I'm sorry, towards the east. You don't see Africa. You don't see Europe. You see space, because Europe and Africa is here. You're here looking outward. And that's my rant for today. I'll probably do a couple more flat earther debunks, and there's a lot of crazy explanations why, there's day and night. Makes no goddamn sense. Why is it that this is flat earth, but yet, like what I described, you should, if you have a telescope looking straight ahead with a telescope on a flat earth, you would see the edge of the earth. But they say, oh, there's a reason why you can't see, because it's some kind of diversion of vision. Everything just gets blurry for no reason. Okay, explain the math. They can't. What's the physics that causes illusion? They can't explain it. It's just bonkers. And I'll get to that later on, folks. But enjoy your day. Go to work. I don't mean to hold you back over. And I will talk to you guys soon. Easy.